let's be honest, it's a hovel, isn't it? It's another Sunday, and much like the last time we did a one-day Sunday thing and I put the seats in, this Sunday I need declutter, right? This place is really unmotivational when I come in and I can't get really moving around it. And it's through no fault of anything. That project state that this thing's in is now just, you know, it takes up space and it's going to get worse. So I need to start moving on to the next phase of what this workshop needs to be. Now that's not to say we knock the walls down and we make it bigger. We just need to optimise the space we've got. So what I need to do is make my workplace agile. Now, I'm sure everyone gets this 9 to 5 on their jobs, and I'm not going to go into the whole Kaizen process and everything else and, you know, continuous improvement and shit, but I do need to kind of apply this a wee bit here. So the principles I'm going to do are looking at the more common tasks that I perform and making sure the workspace is optimized, because at the moment it really isn't. So we're all familiar with the rack at the back. That's more or less storage up the top for this sort of shite, which now no longer fits in storage because it's bloody everywhere. But it's low cost bits and any other misc that I don't actually need right away. This bench was meant to be the clean bench. It's now just, well, a storage bench, but not for very long. There's a lot of stuff here that's going to end up in the low cost very soon. This bench is the big problem. And as you'll know, this bench is more or less where I do the vast majority of tools and track stuff. We've got the pillar drill, we've got the big hammery vise, and all of the other crap I do happens here. And I say that because it's crap work, it's messy work. I'll do grinding, I'll do welding, and it generates a lot of dirt, really. Now, that's fine, I don't mind having a dirty section of the workshop, but crucially the whole workshop ends up dirty, including the low cost. Now it's at a stage where I'm actually not really wanting it to be full of dirt. I've numerous times had to hoover the thing because we're building it up and I don't want it full of old grinding dust and stuff. Now, I can't get rid of this because it has to be here, but I can optimize the work I do on it and consider some of the larger things I do in tools and track. Now, if I'm dealing with rusty stuff, it's not going to be for the low cost because there's nothing left on this car that should have rust on it. The rusty stuff that I end up doing on this vise is from stuff that happens out there. And stuff that happens out there, by all accounts, should have nothing to do with my low cost tools and track studio. So I need to change up the way I do my principal work. But how do I do that practically without doubling my workload? So you'll notice here, all of my storage for things that I use commonly happens here. So you've got angle grinders, spare discs, grinding pads, also grease. Not great to have next to where the dirty stuff happens. Similarly over on this side, you'll see all my storage. That's for things like electrical terminals, nuts, bolts, crap, misc that I always end up having to use frequently, but doesn't have a welder living there because I'm running out of space, which means I need to put the welder out if I need to go and hunt for things in there. This is not an optimized workspace. I've been in this unit now for near on 2 years, and it was great at the start as a tester. I've got all my things here, it's all in one place, it's local to me, mint. But now that I've spent some time here, I need to go back and reevaluate how I work agile. And there's no harm in doing this. And in fact, I really should insist, continually look at how you do your work at home and make sure you're doing it a bit smart. This alcove, all of this is actually a waste of space because I don't need access to this side of the bench. It's just sat in the middle now, A, because it did look good with the big tools and track thing, but B, just to get into this. But if I move this entirely, we could feasibly move the entire bench over into the corner, and that frees up a lot of space over here and allows me to reevaluate all of my storage. So this storage isn't going to live here anymore. I need to accept we need to find a new place for it, and this bench needs to move over to the corner, basically be phase one. So let's get that in the go. This isn't any tidier at all. So next stage, need to start being really, really brutal with what I need and what I don't. And the good thing is everything's lying out, so severe bin time. Starting with the old humble creeper. Now yes, it's looking a bit tatty, but the real reason it needs to go away and die, it doesn't creep. So, goodbye old friend. Phase 1's complete. I've moved all of that bench over to that corner and taken up all that wasted space. I've also took the shelving that was there and moved it outside. I've not repeated all of the shelving since. All that's living outside is things that I use for cars. So, you know, fluids, that, you know, oils and nonsense, that's a storage now. It's not an actual functioning workshop shelf. Now, this shelf needs a lot of thought. As you can see, it's been living next to the bench, so it's covered in store, and I'm also using it to store greases and things like that, which is just dumb. Similarly, I've got a load of paint. Now, remember what we were talking about earlier on, agile. How often do I actually use that paint? Being honest, never. It's like once in a blue moon I'll take a tin from there, but I've also got tins up in that rack and back there. Let's summarise the paints, get them away, but also summarise this shelving. Now, what I'm planning here, and obviously I wasn't just going to do a whole tools and rack episode of how to tidy up a workshop. This needs to be replaced with something a bit slicker. Now, we've all seen the Project Binky where they've got the tower for the grinders. Now that's kind of what I'm thinking, but I also need to make it more versatile. I don't just do grinding, but I do things out with this workshop, out in the main workshop. Now, that always seems to be welding and grinding, so if I take my tools that I use here and make them mobile, it means I've still got them for the bench, but if I need to do particularly rusty, filthy stuff, I can easily take all that outside and do it in the open atmosphere. Similarly, while we're making a mobile tool trolley, it would be prudent for me to think again about the distance I travel with tools. Now, ratchets, sockets, spanners, I'll take them out one by one, go out there, back and forward constantly to the ramp, taking things off the wall. What would be better is I've got a plinth that I can take them all out and work out there, and then wheel back to decant them here when I'm finished. Saves a lot of footwork, doesn't it? So there is a plan brewing here for how I'm going to make a mobile tool station rather than this whole rack. But first and foremost, the rack needs to go. Right, phase 1 is kind of complete. I'm not really sold on these living here. It wasn't really part of the plan. They fit there and allow me to sort of tidy up the rest of everything that's going on around here. But they're quite close proximity to where all the dirty work is meant to be happening. And as a result, I'm not sure it's going to be the best place for it. That being said, I'm still as yet to work out where the best place would be, but probably not there. Anyway, right, I'm waffling now. We've got all of our greasy stuffs that I'm not wanting dirty up the back end on racking, along with some consumables. I'm going to get the rest of my consumable drawers somehow located up there. Also, what else have I come up with? I've gutted out a lot of stuff under there. As you can see, non-frequent use stuff now in boxes, clear boxes, so I can see what it is I'm looking for. So they can live under there. So we're getting tidier. Whilst I have been doing things, I've been daydreaming, and you'll note the big MDF board that's been with me since day dot is A, warped, B, well, never really the best design. And since summarising a lot of stuff, the only thing that remains is spanners. Spanners. Now, they don't need to be mobile, but similarly, they don't need like a 2.5 metre long board to house spanners. I had a look online because obviously expediting this process wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, and there's nothing I like the look of because I still like my spanners to be wall mounted. So yeah, we're going to go off piste with that as well. do feel quite discombobulated at the moment. I don't fully bank on how disrupting my workspace to this level would actually mess with my whole mental thing. Okay, we really need to put this trolley in place because... First up, raw materials. Now I'm probably going to use that old flywheel and weld it to the bottom. I should point out, the little wheel trolley creeper, I have 4 of them under there and 1 of them under the orange toolkit and another spare which just gets in the way, and another one holding the engine up. I've got shitloads of these. Anyway, I'm going to just sacrifice this to make the pedestal for the angle grinders. I did buy casters, but I've got another thing brewing, so we'll use this for now and we'll get to the other thing probably in another episode actually. Right, so that gets welded onto the base. I'm going to put a bar across that as well and then a post. So what shall we use? What shall we use? Right, that's filling the remit that I did have, which is somewhere to hold the hammers, the grinders, and be mobile. However, you'll see that I've left this extra bit in the top, and that's not because I've got any affiliation with setting this on fire and joining the KKK. I want to put a plinth in the top here. Now, obviously when I go and do various things in various places, these are the tools that I need, but sometimes I'll have additional tools, and as I said, I want some sort of table platform to store them, move them out and bring them back. Now my first design was, well, I'd have something coming out here, but realistically, in order to like lift tools off and such, that's kind of in the way and it makes it wider where it doesn't need to be wider. I'm going to just put a platform on the top and have the whole lot pushable. So that's going to be the next step. The decision I need to make is how wide do I make it? And it's not going to be particularly wide because I don't want it to just be tool storage. It's a temporary thing, move tools around, bring them back and put them away. If I put a couple of standoffs out like this and make a kind of square table on the top that doesn't protrude past where the grinder arms are, I reckon that should do it. Probably stick another couple of tabs on the bottom just for storing discs and such like that for cutting. But other than that, that's pretty much what I had in mind. Remit fulfilled. So let's finish this guy off. And I'm also full of the cold if I sound really nasally. It's not because I'm like, all right, mate, well, mate. Right, one last bit of tidying. Now I'm saying tidying because I'm not really going to save a lot of space by doing this, but as I mentioned earlier on, this is crap. So let's make it less crap. I think what I'm going to do is make the same idea for the spanners, but out of steel, and I'm going to give it room for expansion, alteration, call it what you will.
Right, let's continue building the fucking ship.
At any point, have you ever engineered something and thought, this is too strong? No, I've never. I'm a man from Glasgow, Clyde built to last.
Yeah.
But apparently that's a problem.
Sure you don't want to check like the rivets out and we'll do the old hot rivet forming for how thick the metal is, though.
What's your
How are you going to hang it? It's going to weigh about 2 tons.
hang it with fucking screws into the wall, the way you would?
It's a bit extreme.
It's,
When you cut that last bit of metal, it nearly damaged the floor. It fell down. I think you need a weld here and here. I don't know if that's going to be strong enough.
I think it'll be fine.
I don't know.
Do you know what?
Don't know about
I'll
that.
put a weld in. I'll just do it.
Don't.
What?
Oh, it's
I'm building it the way it should be built.
It's just so,
correctly.
so strong. The only thing is, like, you've got a small.
I know, do you know something?
You might be welding that up.
A, I will actually weld that up. And B, I've just realised why there's a wee nick in there. This was the wheel alignment. So I've just butchered.
Oh, for no.
So we'll need to remake that. So here we have one fully built little angle grinder stand, great. One fully cleared floor space, great. All of my shit that needs to be clean, hung up over there, great. And the Clyde built.
We were a wee bit concerned about this one taking the wall down. Well, I was concerned, but it's been okay. We've put, I think there's about 12 raw plugs into the wall, so it might hold.
The fact that I can punch that and there's not a rattle from a spanner tells you that this was a good idea.
Yeah, there's so much more room now, isn't there?
Oh yeah, mate, I can do this and it's not a problem. But there could be more. So I'm going to do a little tickle more in the next episode and then show you why that affects low-cost stuff. But I'm burying the lead a wee bit. We'll get into that next time. In the meantime, patreon.com/toolsandtrack to pay for Clyde built spanners.
Just making
It's an idea, right?
shipbuilding materials.
Yeah, patreon.com/toolsandtrack. Go and have a look on there. There's stuff on it. If not, cool. Like, bell, subscribe. Like I keep telling you every week, just do it. And until next weekend, guys, drive safe.
Bye-bye.